From Illinois Public Media News, this is 217 Today. I'm Kimberly Schofield. It's Wednesday, July 31st. Coming up, we'll learn why several large pork packers have closed plants in the U.S. and Canada in recent years and what it means for producers. That story in just a few minutes, but first, these headlines. The Illinois State Fair is less than 2 weeks away with some new things to see and the return of old favorites. Alex Degman reports.
Grandstand concerts from Lil Wayne and Smashing Pumpkins, free concerts from Gin Blossoms and Lily Rose, and $85 million in improvements to the grounds. Illinois Department of Agriculture Director Jerry Costello can't wait to show everything off, including the revamped multi-purpose arena.
The Monster Truck Show, demolition derbies, rodeos, truck and tractor pulls. Make sure you make your way to the multi-purpose arena.
Also expect plenty of politicians, thousands of farm animals, and hundreds of fried food variations. And if that's not enough, there's always the hog and husband calling contest. The State Fair runs from August 8th through the 18th in Springfield. I'm Alex Degman.
A law signed this week in Illinois will help people in Iowa who are seeking abortions. The Birth Equity Initiative requires private insurers to cover abortion services without copays or waiting periods starting in 2026. Democratic State Senator Lakeisha Collins is one of the measure's sponsors. She says it's important Illinois signed this on the same day Iowa outlawed abortions after a heartbeat forms.
Here in Illinois, you will get the services that you need. Unfortunately, Iowa, they chose to take a different route to pretty much tell women that they are not valued. Illinois is not doing that. Like, we hear you, we see you, and we're here to help you as well.
Illinois' measure also requires coverage of in-home doula and midwife services. Most of the law takes effect in 2026, but midwife services will need to be covered starting next year. Central Illinois Congressman Eric Sorensen has heavily outraised and outspent his Republican challenger, Joe McGraw, in Sorensen's re-election bid. The 17th congressional district includes much of central and northwestern Illinois, and it's been competitive in recent elections. New federal elections data show the Democrat Sorensen has spent $1 million on this campaign. His campaign has raised $3.5 million through the second quarter, which ended in June. McGraw has spent well under $400,000. The retired judge has raised about $850,000, about one-fourth the total of Sorensen's campaign. The Cook Political Report rates the district as leaning Democrat. Still to come, we'll learn why several large pork packers have closed plants in the U.S. and Canada in recent years and what it means for producers. That story is coming up next on 217 Today.
Next time on the 21st Show. When immigration is in the news, it's often bad news. Poor conditions, policy fights, and so on. But there are positive immigration stories, and immigrants can have a significant positive effect on our society. I'm Brian Mackey. That's next time on the 21st Show. Join us.
You're listening to 217 Today. I'm Kimberly Schofield. Over the last 2 years, several large pork packers have closed plants in California, Minnesota, and most recently, Iowa. Harvest Public Media's Rachel Kramer reports what it means for some pork producers and why the industry is encountering economic turbulence.
On his farm near Gowrie in central Iowa, Larry Alliger walks toward a row of low-roofed hog barns.
These weigh about 190 pounds, 180.
Alliger says the pigs inside have another month and a half to reach market weight. He buys piglets from Colorado with his son, and between both of their operations, he says they can have around 20,000 pigs on hand. The Alligers sell them to Tyson Foods. Inside another barn, the hogs are noticeably larger.
We start loading these tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we have 2 loads in the morning that go to Storm Lake. So.
Hauling hogs to the Tyson pork processing plant over 70 miles to Storm Lake, Iowa, is a big change for Alliger. For 35 years, he almost always went to the one in Perry, which was half the distance, until it shut down in June. Alliger says he was disappointed when he heard the news, but not necessarily surprised given the economic challenges across the industry. In 2023, producers in Iowa and the U.S. suffered record losses as costs outpaced profits.
It's been pretty brutal in the last year and a half, and even on Tyson's side. You know, they had a pretty tough year a year ago, so, and if they don't make money, then they can't afford to pay more either, so.
Tyson reported a $648 million drop in income for fiscal year 2023. The company said it closed the single-shift plant in Perry to make overall operations more efficient. Alliger says he's committed to sell to Tyson, but the Perry plant closure will mean more time on the road, an hour and 40 minutes to Storm Lake versus 45 minutes to Perry for each load of hogs. And extra minutes and miles cost more money. Tom Berkran is the former executive director of the American Association of Swine Veterinarians.
It's really more than just an inconvenience for pork producers to lose a plant like this.
He says nearly 100 pork producers, many of whom were his clients, had contracts with the Tyson plant in Perry. Most were shifted to the company's other plants in Iowa.
It's real dollars that they have to spend on transportation, and if they have an employee driving the truck, it's longer hours on the road, and so I really feel bad for producers.
Lee Schultz is an Iowa State Extension livestock economist. To help explain why producers and packers have had several rough years, Schultz points to higher costs for labor, energy, and insurance, along with elevated interest rates and inflation. He says some producers may have spent more money to retrofit facilities or build new ones to comply with California's Proposition 12. The law requires more space for hogs in order for the pork to be sold in the state.
But also you have the auditing and certification process and the tracing of the product and all that adds additional costs to the system.
These costs come on top of long-term shifts in the supply of hogs and capacity to process them. After years of upward growth in the number of hogs, Schultz says pork packers increased their slaughter capacity nearly 10% between 2016 and 2020. They built new plants or upgraded existing ones to be more efficient.
We've seen now hog inventories roughly stabilize. Pork demand has softened a bit since 2020 and 2021.
And packers are adjusting to minimize losses. Schultz says companies with multiple operations will shut down their least profitable, highest-cost sites when times get tough. Smithfield Foods closed one of its processing plants in California last year and recently announced the same fate for its ham boning facility in Altoona, Iowa. High Life also closed a plant in southwest Minnesota, and Olymel shuttered several in Canada. The concern is that there's less cushion to adjust to possible disruptions in the supply chain, and that cushion gets thinner each fall when there are more hogs ready for market. I'm Rachel Kramer, Harvest Public Media.
This story comes to us from Iowa Public Radio through the Harvest Public Media Network. Harvest Public Media is a collaboration of public media newsrooms in the Midwest and Great Plains. And finally, in your forecast, meteorologist Andrew Pritchard says today will be partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms and a high of 89 degrees. That's it for today. 2 and 7 Today is produced by Stephanie Mosqueda. Reporting today contributed by Alex Degman, Eric Stock, and Rachel Kramer. Music by the Kilbourne Alley Blues Band. Reginald Hardwick is our news director. I'm Kimberly Schofield. 2 and 7 Today is a production of Illinois Public Media. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.